Hello and welcome to our presentation. I am Michael Sharman.
And I'm Rachel Moore. We are group 5, and at this point, it is just the two of us. We did have a team of 5 at the start of the semester, but since then, we've lost a few people, and so most of the class, it's just been the two of us.
After taking a poll, our team decided to focus on Twitter, or X. It has so much potential, but we all know it can be such a pain sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, think about when you're on Twitter, how much of your feed is actually relevant to you? We're just
Right.
at the mercy of the algorithm, and it shows way too much incorrect and sometimes even violent content.
Yeah, I think it's a problem too. And what about the like system? Other
Mm.
platforms give us a wide range of reactions. It shouldn't be this hard to connect with friends, to stay informed and have real conversations.
Yeah, we are reimagining Twitter. We're bringing the name back to Twitter, and we just want to give the users more control. We want them to be able to personalize that feed and react to posts in more expressive ways, and also to maybe have a little more trust in what they're seeing. Our design process, we've kept in touch over GroupMe. We've used a group folder in OneDrive to make our Word documents for our assignments. And then for actually doing the visual design part of it, we used Figma. And it was an interesting learning experience because it was new to both of us, but I think it's been really helpful to sort of get acquainted with that.
Our communication was really good and everything was set up in a professional way. We each interviewed a fellow University of Tennessee student, both in their 20s. I interviewed one of my teammates on the baseball team, which is my roommate as well. He said, I usually hop on X to check up on the latest sports highlights or see what's trending. I follow a lot of athletes and teams, so I mostly scroll through my feed and like posts. Sometimes I'll retweet if it's something cool or funny.
I think that's awesome. You guys are both on the baseball team. Go
Yeah.
Vols.
Go Bulls.
Yeah. So I actually traded interviews with one of our classmates from this user-centered design class, and she already has a job in design, and she is also a painter. So she said she usually uses Instagram more for social media, just because that's where a lot of the artists are. But she tends to use Twitter to check on the weather, or if there's an emergency, she'll hop on there to get the latest information. So the affinity diagram was a great tool that we used to visualize our data. We created this on Figma and just organized all the ideas into categories.
Yeah, the diagram was great because it allowed us to get all of our ideas out on the table and make it less confusing. Be able to organize it into different categories was huge, and I think it helped us in the long run a lot.
Yeah, the data analysis was fairly straightforward because we only had those two interviews to work with. But
Mhm.
that was kind of nice because then we didn't have to pick and choose. We were just able to use all of the ideas that came out of those interviews. And we came up with 4 user requirements based off of that.
User requirement one was user-controlled algorithm influence. We said the users need more control over how the platform's algorithm recommends content, allowing for more personalized and flexible content experience. So making it for the user and so that when they open up the app, it's their feed is just for them.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I would like that. Another requirement that we wanted was an expanded content reaction system, which is just a fancy way of saying, let us dislike things, let us be mad about it, let us show some sympathy. Like, why
Mhm.
does it just have to be likes? So we wanted to give users a little more control in that area too, so they could be more expressive.
Our user requirement three, which is flexible content sorting. We said that users need versatile options for sorting and filtering content in their feed and search results to improve their ability to find relevant information efficiently. This is basically sorting in like time, for instance. So you could sort by the day, hour, week, month, new posts, old posts, basically that sort of thing.
That sounds nice.
Mhm.
I come across a lot of outdated content when I
Yeah,
search.
me
So
too.
and then our 4th user requirement was enhanced misinformation management. really not just misinformation, but also harmful, violent content. We see a lot of that on there these days. So we wanted to come up with a system to report that more easily and also track what happens.
Yeah, I think Twitter especially, or X, whatever you want to call it, I think it's a big problem. There's just a lot of stuff that you don't really want to see on a daily basis that comes up on your Twitter feed, and you can't really do anything about it. Like, I've reported stuff, but some things that I don't want to see still come up. So it's just filtering that out would be huge, and I would appreciate that a lot too.
So based on those four user requirements, we refined them down into two user personas. One was pretty closely based on my classmate, our classmate, the designer artist. She's very privacy conscious, but one thing she likes about Twitter or X is the ability to connect with brands and other artists online. And actually, Michael, the baseball player that you interviewed, had a similar story. You know, he had reached out to, I think, a baseball player that he really likes, and he replied to him. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's really cool, and that's something that seems kind of unique to Twitter. So yeah, that is Zoe Taylor, and this is an AI photo, so she does not exist.
The other persona was a fictional teacher. We thought the teacher role would be even more likely to rely on Twitter for up-to-date local information. Plus, it made the demographics of hypothetical users more diverse. So as you can see, Michelle Parker, our fake teacher here, she wants clear up-to-date information, tools to personalize feed, and transparency regarding data usage and privacy practices. So things that we mentioned in our user requirements. We just thought it was a good outline and a good visual for something that could be real.
So for actually designing our prototype, again, we used Figma, which was a good learning experience. I think we got pretty lucky though, because we actually found a template that had a lot of Twitter screens already there. So we just edited those to indicate our changes. So the first one's simple. The only thing that, I really want you to see is it's Twitter now. We've got the bird. Everyone missed the bird.
Mhm.
Everyone I've talked to about this is like, yeah, I don't know why it's called X.
That was a weird rebrand.
I know. And everything got worse. Um, but then here we get into as an example of the reaction options. So for example, they could tap on the like button and then a little pop-up will come up and you can, pick your emoji. So yeah, you can tap on the like button and then it'll turn and you can make it like a super like or a love reaction. And then similarly with the dislike, you can make it an
Yeah.
angry reaction.
And I know everyone uses that on like iMessage on your iPhone, which
Mm.
I think that should be implemented in in all social media. I think a lot of people like it.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. So this is our algorithm control panel. Some feedback we got was, it's not very noticeable, which is true. Um, but this is just a little slider button that you can click on and then some options. So the first tab is this tune feed. You can make it more local to you or not. You can see, but just lots of options there. If you tap on this sort and filter button, it's going to bring you here. And this is kind of like Reddit's system, like Michael was talking about earlier, where you can, sort by the top posts of the last month or maybe the most controversial posts of the last month.
Yeah, misinformation reporting. So right here on the left, we said, let's imagine this post has some information that may be misleading or potentially harmful. They can click on this drop down where the arrow is pointing to right here, and you can get access to the reporting options. You can see the options that we created: incorrect information, harmful content, or AI generated. And then lastly, looking over here at the where the arrow is pointing to, Let's imagine that this post has been flagged by other users as being potentially misleading. You will be able to see that, and it will let others know that it could possibly be misinformation or AI generated or whatever the case may be. You can click on it and it will produce a pop-up message stating the nature of the report.
I like the idea of a colored indicator there
I
because,
like that too. I've never seen it, and I think it's a great idea.
and I really liked the idea that you had, Michael, about having a misinformation sort of center where you can look at stuff that you've reported in the past and see, what happened with that. We didn't actually make a prototype for that because we already had a lot going on, but that was a good idea.
Yeah, I do. I like that idea too.
And then this one is just an idea for creator analytics. So this is, they're looking at what they've posted. And so you can look at your history and click on this little graph, and it'll give you all sorts of information about, how many people liked it, didn't like it, shared it, and also some insights. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea too that you had.
Yeah, I think if some people care about it more than others, but I think it's a cool tool to have if you're trying to grow your platform on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's nice. I think our major theme here is just giving the users more control. You don't have to use the features, but they're there if you want them.
We got a lot of good feedback from Group 7 on our prototype. We could improve our prototype by making it interactive, so test users could actually use the new product. Plus, some of the graphics could be improved for better visibility. We would also include pop-ups to notify current users of these updates. So we learned a lot from the feedback that we received, and we appreciated it.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a lot of good, insightful information that they had, even though it's all kind of hypothetical. They
right.
did a great job imagining what it would be like if we actually got a group together to review this. So that was
No,
cool.
exactly.
I had a lot of fun working through all the steps of this project and just, brainstorming, coming up with ideas, being creative, just learning about all the steps, like all the different things that go into user-centered design. It was really eye-opening. It was more than I thought.
Mhm.
And also, I know we're just scratching the surface. There's so much to each of these things, but my favorite parts were the more visual stages of the design process, like that affinity diagram, the personas, and the prototype.
One thing I really learned from this project is how much thought actually has to go into understanding the user. It's not just about making something that looks good, it's about figuring out what users actually need and how they interact with the app in real life. As a whole, I thought this project was very eye-opening as well, and it showed me how important feedback is not just from the users, but from your peers as well, just like Group 7. When we got our prototype reviewed by them, it was clear that even the smallest tweak can make a big difference. And it showed me that it's not just about getting it perfect on the first try, but you can constantly make changes to your design to improve it overall. So yeah, we learned a lot. We got an overview of all the different aspects of design and how to keep users central in that process. Navigating the group dynamics helped us develop our communication and leadership skills. And giving this presentation you're watching right now is helping us develop our public speaking skills, even if we may be behind a camera. We also learned some of the controls for Figma, which will come in handy for any design career.
Thank you for watching our presentation. We've had a lot of fun with this, and we're grateful for the chance to share it with you guys. Just to recap, some of the major changes that we are proposing for Twitter would be rebranding. Nobody wants to call it X. And then, what do you say, an X post? No, they're tweets. Um, we want more reaction options, like all the emoji reactions. We want to give users more control over their algorithm for their feed so they can sort of fine tune that. And we want to really overhaul the reporting system for misinformation and harmful content. And then creator analytics would be really cool as well to get an idea of how your content is doing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching our presentation. Thank you to Dr. Chidziwisano for all that we've learned.
Yes, thank you, Professor. This was great.
Feel free to reach out over email if you guys have any questions. And thanks for a good semester. And thank you, Michael, for all that you've done. It's been good
Mm.
working with you.
Likewise. Thank you, Rachel.